we are kind of some very deep. Okay, so now the water is very deep, let's say, and it is very big. So we have a big cube of water, depth of 600. And now we gonna turn off the object editor, we gonna turn off map editor, we gonna go to no editor gameplay. As you see, we don't see our water, we see our water. Just because we need some terrain beneath, like black sky do nothing. And you see the blur, because of distance from surface to terrain, is so big that we see shit on the depth. Like, it is quite deep, so it is reasonable, we see nothing. But we see some shadows, things exist. So terrain on terrain we see how deep it is, and it is more blurred there. So yeah. Now we go under the water. Bloom. Okay. And as you see, this terrain far away, like looks quite noisy, different. And we need to go somewhere near the train. So we see some colors and things moving here, like it could be this, but we don't know what we see. Now we are going near, and we are quite at depth, so quite far from the surfaces of the water, and we see some blurry terrain before us. Maybe this shader is too strong by the depth, but it is just a number, it can be changed. And as we see, things are blurry and a bit darker, and we go even deeper, more blurry, just because of the depth. So as we see, it is very blurry. We have hard to see anything. And okay, now we can move to outside the water. Oh, it is not completely here. Okay, and now let's take our guy. He's controlled by the pad. Okay, let's take a pad. And we are about to go there. So, yeah, this shadow is quite heavy. So we have real frame drop just because it is a gigantic free water somewhere. I can put a lot of those objects. However, if we're not looking in the direction of the water, it is faster. Like, yeah, mountains. Okay, go up, and we are about to go to the depth. Then I'm gonna show how it works with some reasonable depth, so the level that we have on the beginning. Like now we are going to see some extreme depths. I don't know if it's reasonable to use the kind of depth. And then I add some controls about how this blur on the water works. For now it is just magic number. Are we inside the water? We are inside the water, in the water on the depth. So as you see, we see something. We can recognize some objects, but they are very blurry. So yeah, it is hard to tell what we are doing, even. But it is on great depth. So I consider it's reasonable to make it bigger, like the effect is much harder when we go deeper, and now we are going up. Now I have hard to tell where we have to go. Somewhere here. Somewhere I see the train. Okay, I get out of the water. Okay, so here is the edge of the water, somewhere here. Yep. So you see the effect is less blurry higher we go. Run on it! Run! Yeah, some jumping helps. It is why I need to make animation editor first, because those animations I did just by placing numbers in the editor, and some of them just don't catch it. As you see, we are losing vision of our guy. Yeah, end of the water. So this is the edge of the water. Now we are going back on the depth, and so it's gonna be blurry, very blurry. So it is hard to tell anything, but if we wait a bit and focus on something, we see where the things are. Just when we are moving, very blurry. Maybe too hard. Okay, now I'm gonna restart it and show how it works with the guy on the some reasonable depth of the water. Oh, wait a bit, I can just edit the map. I turn off the guy, turn on camera, go to map editor. Oh, we are still selecting the stuff. Okay. Down. Are we considering it reasonable depth? Let's take a bit less. Oh. T 40. Not deep enough. Let's say somewhere here. We can consider it reasonable. We see the grass, and there will be deeper there. Okay. Now we can make the water a bit smaller. So depth of 100. Yeah, this is the minimal depth, also magic number. Let's see from the other side. There is our guy. So we can see here if the water is deep enough to cover the train. Yep, it is. Okay, now let's make it smaller. Of course, we can move it left, right, and rotate it, and so on. Okay. Now we can go a bit up. Let's say it will be considered a reasonable depth. Yeah. Okay, and now we change this value. So we cut it somewhere here. Now let's cover a bit more terrain. Okay. And just for fun, we can rotate this water a bit. So we can set it on whatever angle we like. So we're gonna have different depths. And same way the camera is detecting the water, the guy is also detecting. It is just copied. He just not doing anything with water. He is just using this for gravity fields. So let's do it that way and so on. Yeah, let's consider it correct. Okay, so we have object editor closed, this closed. We're going to our gameplay. Let's see how our water looks like. Yeah, we have this kind of sinking of train. Okay, we are going to our guy. Like you see, 20 FPS more just because the water is smaller. So those effects are quite heavy on GPU. Like there is a lot of coding, decoding, and so on. You see now we have more this blue, not opaque water or less transparent, just because terrain is very near from the surface, from the point of the view of the camera. And you see some bleak, so let's say for the cartoon water it is good enough. I made it based on the tutorial of the Dragonite spam. So credits, and this is the same texture he was using for his tutorial about water shaders. So this is exactly the same texture what you see here. Nothing else. It is just taken directly from Dragonite tutorial. I copied only the texture. And we are moving to another part of the map. Yep, reloaded. Okay, and now we are gonna sink us in the water reasonable way. Go up. Go up. Like find some terrain. Okay. Yeah, this is this problem with animations. I didn't put much detection of the correct terrain and he's going in the loops. So let's see, because the water is not at gravity flat. It's not flat to gravity, like not normal to gravity. We put it a different way in editor. You see, when we put anything in the water, around it is starting to get blue. So whatever object is gonna be there, around it's gonna be, just because distance from a camera to the object beneath the surface, it will be a bit covered, like foam or something. Yeah, should looks that way. But you see, the deeper we go, we see the guy. He's seen under the water. This is blurry, some blurry from surface, and now we are under the water. So we see our guy, and here is the underwater effect. Not very deep, but you see, when we move in camera, the blur is bigger. So yeah, he is visible still, but there are some effects. And of course we can go out from the water, and then we're gonna test how it looks from his point of view, like third person. So we are looking from the camera when he's looking through the water surface, of course not on the black sky, on the stuff. So it looks like it should. This is what we expected. Some blur, not much, but under the water everything is blurred enough. Like we can tell what is going on, but it is blurred. It is because of the distance from camera. So this effect can be a bit too harsh, but this is just one number. Yeah, so it looks that way. So now I'm about to show some screens about these GPU settings and CPU settings if you are about to use different core and stuff, and I put it somewhere in the film and some comments about it and so on, if you don't know how to use a GameMaker on different settings. And you see on what kind of potato I'm running this and recording the video same time. So like we have not very much not a lot of transistors under the HUD. Yeah, so it is possible in GameMaker to do such stuff, like looking quite correct. Let's say my reference is Daggerfall, yeah, for this. So let's say it looks good.